Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. Buenas tardes a todos. I want to start off by addressing a new report on Arizona school spending. It's been publicized that schools spent less of the money they received last year in the classroom than any of the 15 years the state's been keeping track. But according to Chuck Essex of the Arizona Association of School Business Officials, it's not surprising that classroom spending as a share of dollars continues to decline, quoting him, "If you're really low spending in your state, it still costs you money to fix your roof. It costs you money to heat your buildings, cool your buildings, pay for your lights and everything, whether you're in a state that spends a lot of money or spends a very little amount." Littleton's adopted maintenance and operation budget last year without food services was $34.6 million. But the report uses $43.5 million. That includes all of our food services and transportation for all of our kids. They say our classroom percentage was above our peer district average, which is good. And if we take out food service and transportation, it increases by 6%. The point is that the more we do for our families and the more grants we receive that don't go into the classroom directly, the lower that percentage will go. Spending doesn't have to actually go down. Our classroom spending did go down when the state cut soft capital and kindergarten funding. That's over $2 million a year, every year. And inflation was never fully funded, even with Prop 123. All through the recession, we maintained 7 campuses, and now an 8th one this year. That's over 600,000 square feet of building and nearly 100 acres of grounds. As Mr. Essex said, the cost of running these facilities hasn't gone down. The Auditor General's report excludes charter schools, but the Superintendent of Public Instruction's annual report includes classroom spending by charters. These reports show how school district classroom spending is almost 3% higher than charter schools. Charter schools do spend more than twice as much in administration as school districts, so dollar for dollar, they've not been a good investment for Arizona. Community schools in Arizona are in trouble because state policy decisions like these continue to keep budgets below where they were a decade ago. And as our legislature continues with a 2-decade run of state revenue cuts, community school funding continues to lose ground. Now, a new lawsuit is ready to be filed against the state for failure to fund the cost of maintaining schools. Reports from leadership at the Capitol describe the members as being just as divided about education funding. There are a few helpful bills moving through the legislature, but there are far more that are punitive to teachers and school districts. We have the governor's plan to give 0.4% of a raise to teachers while supporting millions of dollars going to fund facilities for privately owned school facility and charter schools that reject hard-to-educate children. The situation at the federal level has now gotten even worse, with a straight-out call to pay for private schools with federal tax dollars. The limited funds that go towards students with special needs, language needs, economic disadvantages, school health services, and homelessness are being chipped away to make room for private school kids. Less funding to support our community and more for those who abandon it. Now, on a positive note, let me talk about our school district. I also had an opportunity to visit the Littleton Firebird Kids at Hope Career and Education Day earlier this month. The traveler stations were great and the engagement was good. I was most impressed with the 8th grade students that were leading the activities for the younger students. As many of you know, we hosted our 3rd annual Digital Learning Day last month to showcase how students are learning with technology in the district. All 7 schools participated by showcasing their education technology in the classroom. At multiple campuses, students were technology ambassadors guiding guests around the campus. Visitors were able to observe students using technology in multiple ways to increase digital awareness and academic success. So speaking of awareness, teachers Christina Palacios and Julie Fatch, I always say that wrong, recently connected Country Place Leadership Academy with Fuel Up to Play 60 and won a grant for $3,600 to Fuel Up Play 60 student leadership team, working hard to spread the word about healthy eating habits and the importance of physical activity. In doing so, these students gain opportunities to make a difference in their community and their school. Last month, several of our 6th through 8th grade students had the opportunity to participate in the West Side Impact Science and Engineering Fair. Estrella Vista STEM Academy students spent a lot of time utilizing design thinking processes to develop a prototype in order to address a real work problem. A team of 6th grade girls, Angie Suseta, Delea Ciros, and Melinda Goblish, is that right? Were awarded first place with their H2O bike design. And a group of 6th grade boys, Owen Hall, CJ Hodge, and Nathan Caravantes, earned 2nd place for their homemade filter entry. The Gucci Supreme entry, also by Estrella Vista STEM students, won an honorable mention, as did the Bridge Project by a team of students from Country Place Leadership Academy. We want to congratulate all those students who participated and thank their teachers, especially who supported them. Most of the schools in the U.S. celebrated joys of reading, and ours were no exception on Read Across America Day, or Dr. Seuss Day at the beginning of this month, which our board president mentioned also in her comments. All of our schools had special activities. I got to read at Country Place Leadership Academy. They had a lot of visiting dignitaries, community leaders, military personnel, police, detectives, members of the fire department, to name a few. 6th grade student ambassadors were there to greet the visitors, and the students were excellent listeners in the classrooms, the one I attended, and the ambassadors were great too. Some of the other Dr. Seuss-atic activities that took place around the district included Littleton Elementary, where surprise readers and guest readers from the community, including Miss Arizona, I don't know what year, shared their favorite books. Classrooms decorated their doors and celebrated the winners at the end of the week for the best design. Quinton Shark Nation celebrated literacy and style as students dressed up each day in special fashions. There were Cats in the Hat, Fox in Socks, Green Eggs and Ham, and characters from favorite books seen throughout the week. There was also a special evening literacy event where parents and students experienced literacy coming to life. So now soccer season has come to an end and ended well. Students had so much fun, they played hard. The first place for girls went to the Country Place team. On the boys' side, students from Estrella Vista STEM Academy team were champions. I've been mentioning those names a lot tonight. Softball and baseball tryouts are underway. I suppose Littleton's going to really show up for softball and baseball tryouts. Students are excited to get the season started.